Hello and welcome to Zee Commodity Capsule. Oil prices have edged higher on the Monday morning after Ukraine stepped up the attacks on Russia, fanning concerns that Russian oil supply may be disrupted, while expectations of a cut in US interest rate buoyed the outlook for a global growth as well as fuel demand. Brent crude prices hovered above $67 a barrel and WTI crude was holding with gains close to 63.5 and 64 odd dollars a barrel. We saw one of the refineries in Russia caught fire and has been burning for the fourth day on Sunday. Now, this refinery is important because it sells fuel mainly for export and has an annual capacity of 50 lakh metric tons or around 1 lakh barrels per day. Gold prices meanwhile edged lower but continue to stay above $3,400 an ounce on Monday as dollar crept higher, while increased US interest rate cut expectations following a dovish pivot from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell lent some support to bullion. US gold futures is hovering close to $3,410 an ounce. We saw US dollar index rose 0.2% against its rival after having dropped nearly to a 4-week low. Powell on Friday signaled a possible interest rate cut at US central bank's meeting next month, saying that the risk to the job market were rising, but also noting inflation remained a threat and that a decision wasn't set in stone at the moment. Silver prices are hovering close to 14-year high. It held near $39 an ounce on Monday amid the bets on US Federal Reserve policy easing. We saw metal rallied about 2% on Friday after Fed Chair Powell signaled that central bank is likely to cut rates at its next meeting. Metal prices are also where you need to keep an eye on. Shanghai copper prices hover over 1-week high on Monday, tracking some weakness in dollar after US central bank chief hinted at the rate cut, and as demand in China remained upbeat, we saw copper on Shanghai Futures Exchange hovering above 79,300 yuan per metric ton. Copper prices drew support from US Federal Reserve Jerome Powell's pointing towards a possible rate cut at the central bank September meeting, but stopped short of committing to cutting interest rate. US natural gas prices have fallen to lowest since November 2024. Hovering close to $2.7 per MMBtu as supply remained abundant. Production in the lower 48 states in the United States of America averaged a record 108.4 billion cubic feet per day so far in August, which is slightly above the July mark. Despite hotter than usual summer temperatures, strong supply has allowed storage levels to remain well above the average, about 6% higher than the typical for this time of the year. Soybean also on CBOT is hovering close to 2-month high. It surged for 4th consecutive session on Monday as the hopes of China's return to the market underpinned prices.